real well.
Yeah, search. I don't know. It's just.
I don't know what it's keying off of to try and find it, but it wasn't under the advisor. It was under newsletters. So.
Yeah, there's not the word advisor in there somewhere, I guess, at least in the right context.
Yep, only on the front of the page in really big letters.
And that's graphic, not alpha.
Right.
It's not searchable in the sense of, yeah, got it.
So Jim, hey Jim.
Yes.
So with the advisor, can we download and distribute?
You can download it. I don't know if you can print it. I'm not sure whether it's an editable PDF or not. Because we load it up with the back page with your name, address, contact information. I'll have to check with marketing, or you could just try it and see. If it works.
It is in PDF, but I didn't know if we were allowed to share this.
You know, if it's out there as an asset and you want to print it out or give it to someone, that's fine to me. The marketing really likes to take pride in the fact that it's 80-pound bond, professionally printed, and it's a physical piece you can hand to someone, which has in and of itself a characteristic of a personal touch. And to me, it's a better handout than a brochure.
Okay.
Because it's the kind of thing for $1 a piece, $1.13, whatever it is, you can take around, or you can go on to your visit, or you can mail to somebody if you're doing virtual meetings with them, because it's a tangible piece of material they'll put on their desk. They'll read it at breakfast. They'll pick it up and take a look at it. Where if it's an electronic format document, it's going to get lost with all my other stuff on my desktop or in some folder that I'm filing it away in. So it's just it's one of those pieces that I think in every sales cycle there needs to be something that takes place in terms of a transaction of me handing you something that you're going to read that tells me something that's got a very important message in it. And the various advisors have a different message that touch on all of our technology, but always incorporate all the things we do at some level or another in terms of this as part of our service as an IT outsourced services company, and they tell a story about it. And third-party stories, I think I've mentioned this to you, I'll certainly reinforce it many, many times. Third-party stories are the most effective way you can tell people about what you do. And it's the psychology of them not becoming me, I. It's just, here, read what other people say about us. Read what other people think about me. That's why Yelp has got such a great following, is that people take referrals and take what other people say about who the entities are that are being reviewed on Yelp and other review sites and publications. Because people have credibility in what other people think. Put a lot more credibility in what other people think, not what you tell them. Psychology, right?
Yeah. And I do have another question too about the cadence, the spreadsheet you had shown. So that the 12 days, I mean, I could see where I could create. So if I had a lead, I could create all of those tasks right in advance. And then just, and then I'll be able to follow that. But is there a plan to put this into Salesforce where you don't have to create those tasks? I mean, as a default, they'll do it automatically for these leads, and then you can just adjust?
Yeah. The answer is yes and no. First of all, no plan's ever going to be the same. Customer or prospect to prospect. No content of the template's ever going to be the same. So you got to be careful about what you're saying. If I could push out a bunch of stuff of the same type, I can use Pardot to do a mass email, but it's going to be generic. It's not going to be personalized. But if I can set something up in a sequence, in a managed sequence, and have something manage the delivery of that, I could send an email out without ever even knowing it. It's going out, other than the fact that I put it in my plan, it should be going out. There is a product that we're going to be introducing as an adjunct to Salesforce called Sales Loft. And it does that for you. And it helps you manage the process. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of a cumbersome spreadsheet at best to do where are you with what client, what touch you, what happened, what's the next step. And each step is going to define, in some cases, the next step you take. So it's not going to be like that, as I'm trying to point out when we brought that picture up there, that spreadsheet. these are going to change not just for each different prospect, but they're going to change at each step of the game. They're likely to change. And, what you learn on one sequence is going to dictate what happens on the next one. So you're going to be constantly adjusting this, and there are tools out there to help you do that. For the timing, if we use this thing, we've set it up so it's managed to a spreadsheet, which is a very cerebral process, obviously, to kind of manage that sequence as you go through the use of a spreadsheet. But we're working on some tools that will help you do it much, much more automatically, as we say.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm just looking at, myself doing this. I'm going, okay, I got so many leads, and then I got all these 12-day tasks that I need to manage for each of those. That's a lot of work right there.
Oh, yeah.
Some of that can be
right.
created
I appreciate
automatically.
that, and you're exactly right. It's been a big topic of conversation since we started this relationship a few months ago with JB Sales, John Barrow Sales. One of the tools that they use and their clients use. Now, JB Sales, have you had any conversation about them at all, other than the fact that they are sort of the co-author of the training program we're going to be launching you guys into next week, and as well as several other franchisees over the few weeks to come. They do all the sales training. They train all Salesforce salespeople. They train all of LinkedIn's salespeople. They train all of Google's salespeople, Cisco's salespeople. They teach them and they train them in this cadence process of how do you target prospect on a very specific basis, as well as, marketing's not going to go away. Marketing's your as I'll show you in a minute, marketing is your broadcast type of marketing. JB Sales and this prospecting we're going to talk about right now is targeted. And that's a sales process more than a marketing.
Yeah, maybe, because I keep hearing this thrown out, there's more to be done next week that I really don't know what's going on.
Well, we're going to talk to you about that. This is not the end of your training. I think Rob has already talked about you're going to be training on a regular basis throughout the next few months in various aspects of what we talk about these 2 weeks. We're going to be stretching that out and extending it. There's going to be a schedule, I assume, of what these events are going to look like. So we're not going to leave you alone Friday afternoon and say, good luck, right. You got all our knowledge, go forth and do well. We're going to be working with you for quite a while.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand what that is and where the line begins, where we start moving forward with actually running the business versus continuing to train every day, all day long kind of stuff. And
no, this is going to be 1-hour webinars.
Some sort of calendar, schedule, something like that.
They'll build calendar. Think of it in this. I'm not going to teach you how to negotiate or how to fill out a contract in detail until probably a month from now, when you're probably getting closer to the need to know how to fill out a contract. We're going to show you what they are. We're going to go through what they do, understand their purpose. But I don't want to spend 3 hours walking you through 13 pages of contractual language and then have you forget it by the time you need it 6 weeks from now. So we'll be staging certain aspects of what we do to the timing of when you're going to need it. And we're also going to start layering it in at levels that we feel you can absorb without being overwhelmed.
Hey, and let me address this, Bill, because this is on me. Bill, if you can take off on mute just so I can make sure I hit the expectation here. One of the things that we've done is, talked about your plan for the next 90 days and the pieces of there based on hours. We're not going to add any more hours to your day, but if you have sales training and you're doing sales calling, we're going to take an hour of that sales calling time, right? Certain days of the week to do some training and recap on what we're doing. The intent here is to stay in front of you and to help you give real feedback versus you just going through multiple cycles of it with no feedback. So the intention here is we will not add any more time. You're not in the classroom all day. You've got a launch scheduled to do. You're going to be, we're going to be taking an hour here, an hour there, releasing content for you to take, right, during different times of that schedule. So again, there won't be any additional stuff. If you want what that looks like for the whole year, Bill, it's not going to be published today. I mean, by Friday, you'll see 90 days and you'll see out through the rest of the client life cycle. So you'll know when you get to the end of that. But all the individual courses and things like that, you'll see the routine in days. But the only one that's really going to be time restrained is the Jay Barrows program because of the placement of it. I don't want you guys to miss out on it. But typically it would have been happening before you got here, Bill.
Right. Okay. So I guess, next week, right? My week's open. I'm trying to schedule whatever, I'm moving this business forward. It's just the way, if you look at my disc, you're going to understand that.
I already see it. I see it in your personality profile.
So I'm trying to hold back, and understand. I want to be a part of this process. I want to do it well, do it right. I bought the franchise so that the system was in place that I could work. And so I want to work the system. I'm just not seeing much of a system for next week, but I'm hearing a lot of talk about I'm going to be busy next week. And so I just don't know what that, I'm not putting those together, right?
So you have a marketing plan, right? For 90 days with events that you need to do all week, right?
Right.
You have a set of KPIs that you're going to have to go through with Jim. You talked about those 40 contacts, right? We're going to have personal development, which we talked about. We haven't laid in there yet.
Okay.
And then we've got the final piece, which was your outsourcing cadence or what you need to get outsourced.
Right.
So all of that stuff, we're giving you what needs to get accomplished week by week.
Right.
The only one that's awkward here is this Jay Barrows program because of the coach's time for that.
Sure.
Everything else, Bill, you can move around and do whatever you want, right? Mm-hmm. The very few things are check-in calls and your coaching calls and that one Jay Barrows program. Everything else, if you want to put marketing in at 10 o'clock at night to call people and, prospecting at 3, all those plans should be there. So I'm happy to chat more with you about it. I just want to make sure that's clear going forward.
No, I understand. I'm getting a better picture of it. So, and if this is going to be more clear by the time we get to Friday, that's fine. I'll hold off and wait. I'm just highly calendar driven, and my calendar's wide open right now. So I need to get it filled up with stuff, whatever that is.
Absolutely. So
we've got
Chris, come chat with me real quick before I go in.
Just going to fill them in. But we've got time booked for Rob to show you what that looks like. So the excuse I'm going to go get talk to.
All right, Bill, does that help? You okay?
My calendar's still wide open, so yes and no.
All right. So. Well, by the end of this presentation, I will fill it for you. I promise.
All right, let's fill it up.
I'll give you some ideas of how to fill it, but that's our goal. We want to get you active. That's why we're talking through some of these techniques early, walking you through the process. I just don't want to be set your expectations and things that you may walk out of here wanting to know everything about it, all we do. And I don't want to dilute that in any way by just showering you with everything we do and just not really concentrate on the first things you need to do. And we'll have your calendar working for you starting next week. And by the way, we're here to help you keep it full. So weekly calls and getting on conversations with your coach are going to be all part of that. And then we'll be guiding you through navigate the waterway, so to speak, to do the right things in the right sequence at the right time.
And just to add to that, I think, so we have the 90-day marketing and sales plan, right? But then we also have the service delivery one. There's a 90-day plan as well. And I'm still trying to figure out, okay, I need to start merging these two.
They all work together. I'm going to give you another one. I'm going to give you a 90-day activity plan to kind of supplement your marketing plan, so you know things you should be doing that will mark activity that will help you go through these processes. How many touches do I need to make? How many SOI calls do I need to make? We're going to all work through that as well to give you some guidance, some KPIs, and some goals to march to. And if you run out of things to do, you got Rob, myself, Teresa, and Bob to talk to, and we will help you get to the next step. Okay,
Yeah.
prospecting. This is where we're going to get into some interesting things, and this is where I'm going to kind of introduce some of the premises that we're going to be working through in the Barrels program. Is that we're taking a different. Let's see, but can you see my screen, or have I shared it yet? You've got it. You see the guy with the prospecting pan on the screen?
Yep.
Got it. Okay, great. So we're going to walk through how do I put together a plan. And this is where you can start working next week. You start working tomorrow, if you'd like, on putting together an activity plan that's going to meet some of these objectives that I'm going to talk through today. We are going to run long on this, so we may have to cut it up and put it in some stuff tomorrow, because this is an important segment, and it's going to augment your marketing plan in ways that I'll show you here in just a minute, and it'll give you a lot of things to do. Our definition of prospecting is really, what do I do within my territory with the resources that I have? I've got lists. I got people I know. I'm going to have people calling me. I got people I want to go after that don't know that they're going to be my prospect, because I know something about them and I think they would make great clients for me, and that I could help them a lot. There's going to be all sorts of sources and vectors into who do I go out and prospect with the objective of turning him into a client. So I'm going to try to help you with that and give you some
Jump in here real quick and just ask one more question.
Yes, sir.
So the last thing I had on my notes from the last session before we took a break was pick 20 to 30 people in your territory that are influential. That kind of, are you going to address that, or is that just a sidebar you threw out there for, just for information?
This is the next 37 slides.
Okay, so we're working. That's where we're going next. All right, just want to make sure that I didn't miss something.
No, you didn't miss it. You got it. This is what we're going to talk about right now. So I want to start high, and we're going to work low. We're going to work deep. So we're going to go a little deep dive on this thing. I'm going to show you some of the sources of leads that you're going to get, sources of referrals, leads, contacts, whatever you want to call them. They are going to be where you go to get names, contacts, introductions to people who are going to become your customers and clients at some point. Number one on the top of the list is going to be sphere of influence. I will talk a lot about that. That's people you know, people you get to know in the course of running your business, doing your business. Networking, people you meet. This is kind of the people you get to know, whether it's virtual, as in today's world, whether it's meetup groups, whether it's occasional, we're starting to see more face-to-face kind of events take place. They're few and far between, but they're starting to pepper up here and there. Networking, social media, one of the best sources, again, for getting out to people that you're connected to, finding out what's going on and letting them know what you're doing, and finding opportunities to engage with as potential opportunities. These are the top three I'm going to be really focusing on in this presentation as sources or avenues of information that you can use. I'm also going to be talking about this targeted outbound prospecting, the process of putting these things to work, and how we uncover, how do we define those top 30, top 40, whatever it is you want to call them, people we want to get to because we have some reason to, based on their demographic, based on whom they know, based on where they are in the business community, based on their reputation, etc. We're also going to look at sources of, you probably all have access to local publications. They might be community publications. They might be part of the biz.com complex of 43 metro areas. Wherever you find opportunities to read news about people in the news that are dealing with the business in your local community, you want to be able to find and get access to. We'll help you find them if you need that. Getting list of groups, networking groups, members that you belong to, networking groups, get their membership directory list, the Chamber of Commerce directory list. All of these are areas and ways you can, resources you can go to see if you can get access to their membership list. Business associations are an example of where you might be able to get some membership credentials there that could give you access to, let's say, Engineers Association of Kansas City or something like that would have so group membership, and you might have access to that content based upon your relationship with them. You can join as an associate or something like that. So there's those kind of associations. Referrals that you get from your leads group, BNI, others. These are all kinds of lead sources that can produce a lead, a referral, an introduction that could get you in front of somebody that could be a potential opportunity. Zoom info, getting information out of Zoom info about the people in your community, contacts in your community, the companies they work for, what their title is, what their contact info is. This is also an important resource for you to be aware of. You can get more information from Adrian as far as the getting access to a Zoom info list. So prospecting has a lot of obstacles to it. It takes time. It takes that being brave 10 seconds at a time, getting out there, doing things that might be uncomfortable. But over time, it's going to give you a great return on investment. We've seen that time and time again. This is the kind of the stuff of get out of your own way that we talked about yesterday. Don't give me excuses. I don't have time. I don't like it. Doesn't fit my personality. It's not my style. I don't like small talk. I'm not very good at it. It's never worked for me before. Why should it start working for me now? Let's get over that. Let's get over that heat, and let's get into how we can make it work by understanding kind of the things we do that make it sour, but also things we can do to kind of fix it. Stop talking about yourself. We've done that all day today. Is don't talk about yourself. Lead with something about them. Make it about them. Get them talking about themselves. Don't lead with a solution. Don't walk into a situation, say, I do that all the time, do it in my sleep. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. That is no way to build confidence that you are interested in their problem and that they're not unique and that they're just part of some big generic pile of people that have all sorts of problems, and you just go in there and fix it without any kind of relationship at all. We want to make sure that you lead with something about them and that you're there to work with them and their issues. We don't want to do anything that's not strategic to our business. We certainly don't want anything that's not that we don't prepare for. Even that first lead, and I got 1 hour to call them, I want you to do a level of prep that at least makes you somewhat intelligent about who they are. So those are the biggest mistakes, and probably the king of all of them is you get a lead and you don't follow up. You pick up a card at a conference and you exchange cards with somebody and it stays on your desk for a week. These are what I consider the worst sins of prospecting and networking that I've ever lived with, is that you just do not follow up on good opportunities that you have right in front of you. So looking at what aggressive prospecting can do for you, it's a great way to fill your pipeline. It gets activity moving through your nurturing channel, through your engagement channel, and ultimately into your real sales channel with that first one-on-one conversation, moving through to the business assessment, proposal, and on to contract. This is the way to kind of get things moving. Your sphere of influence, the referrals you get from your networking groups, the results from your outbound prospecting, all are going to fill your pipeline with quality leads, probably faster than doing blanket campaigns. But they're going to fill part of that void too, so you can't ignore them. We can also make it a lot of fun, getting out there, getting to know people, enjoying the relationships. Carl, like I said, his meeting the chairman of the board of Cisco, turning into a huge deal for him, that was enjoyable. Believe me, got to a long-term relationship, got some business out of it, and it was a very satisfactory exercise. And our main goal is to get you revenue, get you to break even more quickly, working through things you can control that would help you get to closure, or as we say, get to a no as fast as possible, so you can decide what to do to move on and spend your time more appropriately elsewhere. General tips and tricks for prospecting is get it on your calendar, Bill. That's going to be a block of time on your calendar, is getting out, making phone calls, going out and seeing people, having lunch, going to an event. There's going to be plenty of these opportunities to fill on your calendar. I am a strong believer of blocking calendars. If you don't believe it, I'll show you mine someday. It's red and purple and green. It's got all sorts of block time on it that I just go devote my time to nothing but what's on that calendar. And it's a very, very it's a great way to get your time management down to an efficient level. Get familiar with whom you want to target. Who are the people in your territory? And I can't answer this for you. I can only give you some suggestions. You know people in your community that, gosh, this guy would be a great person to work for. Maybe he's a friend, maybe somebody you have as a client or had as a client, or they have you as a client, your CPA. You know them by reputation. You know them by what they do. You've heard about them as you've seen them advertised. They're always in the on the move news in the local community newspaper. These are the people you want to go for because they're marquee clients, potential clients, they're marquee prospects. You would be proud to have them on your My Clients page or on the testimonial page talking about what you've done for them. These are the people you want to target. You may not hit them in a campaign. You may not hit them in a random roll call type of a Marketopia or whatever outbound sales calling campaign that has 100 dials a day per rep on it. You may have to go after them yourself because you know something about them. You may have an easier way to get to them because they're connected with you through LinkedIn. Lots of ways you'd want to choose them. I'm going to leave that up to you. I will certainly help you and guide you. So will Teresa and Bob. If you ask them about who should I pick as my top 30, top 40 people I want to start doing a direct prospecting plan or relationship with. A lot of stuff we can focus on inbound marketing with your web and social postings. You can use that as a way to get yourself known in the community. You don't want to reinvent the wheel every time you want to write something. There's lots of material out there. I've shown you some templates in that previous workbook on the following up on a web lead cadence. Those are examples and samples and inspirations for you to use yourself. Don't rewrite them, but personalize them where you can. The more you can personalize it to them and to yourself, the more effective it's going to be. Check out Pardot, see if people that you're targeting, going out for, are actually opening up the emails they are getting from you, opening up your quick tips. That's a great indicator as to whether they show interest, especially if it's a repetitive interest. You'll see that showing up in the Pardot analytics. Prep beforehand, every call you make sure that you're well versed in who they are, what they do, why you're calling them, what the purpose is, what they might think about, how they think about their day, what's going on in their world. Try to get into their mindset so you can address their needs and their concerns in a way you can help them. When you have clients, when you're at networking events, when you're attending your BNI leads group, you're always, don't be bashful to ask for referrals. Anybody that you can think of that could benefit from my services like you have. You might be a great question to ask of your client every few weeks. Is anybody you've talked to lately that I should be talking to as well? At BNI, you're going to be constantly asking for and giving referrals. It's a give and take world in the leads, closed leads kind of groups. As far as your sphere of influence, you're going to be asking them for help and advice because they know the community. You know them, they know you. What should I do? How should I go about this? Do you have someone that you think that I should be in contact with that you would be comfortable introducing me to? Try to mix it up. Don't make it, 9 to 5 or 9 to 12 every day. I'm on the phone. Get different days, different times. Even try early morning. In many cases, you'll find that some ways to make some kinds of calls effectively is after 5. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And there's lots of material out there about how to time your day well as allocate it. Follow up. I can't emphasize that enough. I was just talking to Adrienne out there that probably the biggest sin we see is that we can't help you unless you help us by tracking what you're doing. And you can't be as good as you can be if you don't know what you're doing by having a good trail of what's transpired so far with each and every one of your contacts and your prospects. That means logging everything in Salesforce. I know it takes time. That should be a part of your day or part of your week on your calendar is catching up with Salesforce, making sure everything's current. This is just a quick testimony from Billy Solano about how he's been successful with his franchise. I'll just let you kind of read it. It's a little story about how he joined the chamber, started getting quick tips out there, started networking with everyone he could. He got this person on quick tips, read it on a Tuesday, then saw our webpage and saw our website, got an email to us. Let's get together, let's talk. And she talked to him, and I think a couple days later they did the assessment, and he converted her to a client. That's just a great example of just being out there. Billy is an active networker. He's a very socially connected person through his country club, through his love of golf, through the people he's met in other businesses, through the chambers, which he's worked vigorously by just being there and actively engaging with people. I just wanted to share this as one example of many about how it's worked for him, what he's done to get activity in his pipeline. So I'm going to talk about a couple things. I tried to color this up this morning. I'm going to talk about ways to get started. One is targeting key businesses. One is networking. The other one is leveraging your sphere of influence. And the other two are marketing. I will let marketing kind of in their communications with you work on how to use Pardot, and Adrienne and Alex will work with that. And also how do you leverage in social media to get attention, to reach out, let people get to know what you're doing, how to make connections. So I'm going to focus on these two at the bottom here so much as I am in the next few minutes is work on these three right here. So I'm going to start with SOI. Probably over the first year of your business, you will get more business through your sphere of influence than you will in any other marketing source. Does that say stop everything else, focus only on doing this 12 hours a day? No. You will be working through a lot of touches, through a lot of different vectors, and every one of the things that you do is going to count to potentially in registering a contact or registering a degree of awareness to the people that you're reaching out to. So don't say that just because sphere of influence is working best or outbound marketing is working best, that I'm not going to do anything else. It's the mix that counts. They all contribute to the awareness level of your brand and to you, and they will all, you'll also, in every case that you saw in Billy's example, start off with networking, got a quick tips out to her. She saw something on the website and she sent him an email. So there's multiple ways that he and she connected, and it wasn't necessarily one thing that triggered that last email. It was a sequence of things, and that's where we want to make sure we're not forgetting and not employing or deploying a marketing mix in everything we do. So the sphere of influence, I'm going to start there as quickly as you can. Get started on reaching out to your sphere of influence. It's not the people in them that you're looking for necessarily. I'm not going to say everybody you know is a business owner that's going to be buying services and products from you. You may know 100 people, but each one of your 100 people in that, each one of those 100 people in that group probably know 100 people as well. Quick math says how many potential touches do I have, or how many potential opportunities do I have to make an introduction out of my sphere of influence with 1 degree of removal from them. Approximately, give or take, 10,000. So it's the people that I want to get to is that who they know more, as much or more than who they are. These will be any of your friends, people, neighbors, colleagues. 20%, 30% of my sphere of influence is in the Bay Area and high-tech Silicon Valley. I haven't been there in 20 years, but I still use them. I still contact with them. I use LinkedIn with them. They've given me referrals for other people in Texas. So they will work for you. They know people. Don't forget them. You may not want to get in touch with them face-to-face in every case, but you at least want to make sure that you reach out to them with this leveraging effect in play to see who they might introduce you to and how they might help you in terms of setting up your own business. So when you meet with them, you're not talking necessarily about what they can do to be a customer of yours. What we're really looking for is who are these 85% of people that they know, or even this 15% that they may actually own their own businesses anyway. They might be lawyers or CPAs that you know, but they know other people as well, other businesses that may be their clients, people who are not prospects or not businesses that have regular jobs or not involved in running their own business. They're going to be using services from doctors and dentists, chiropractors, architects, engineers. Those are the people that you're going to be looking to get introduced to through them as part of your sphere of influence. Remember, your sphere of influence is not territory bound. Anybody that you know as part of your sphere of influence can refer to you to anybody, anywhere, and as long as you feel comfortable in servicing them either direct or through another franchisee, they're your prospect. So when I look at the prospect wheel, or the sphere of influence wheel, I look at the sort of the what I call the inner circle and the outer circle of friends. The inner circle is sort of the people that I know very well, face to face. We contact each other, we talk to each other, maybe our neighbor, first name basis, the whole thing. The outer circle are people that you've got industry contact with, you may be linked up with because of a business transaction, or you've talked to them about some potential opportunity. They're not as deeply engaged with you as perhaps some of your friends and colleagues would be, but nevertheless, they're a connection. For those people, that outer circle, send them a letter. Tell them what you're doing. I'm excited about being here. I'd love to give you a call, let you know what I'm doing, and maybe we can figure out a way we can help each other. For your inner circle, the people that you do know, really try, even in today's virtual world, have a one-on-one Zoom meeting, or perhaps a comfortable coffee at a local shop if you know them well and you're not violating any social distancing rule of the establishment or of your own conscience. Is get in front of them, and the idea of getting in front of them is to have a conversation that's really descriptive of hey, I want to tell you in 45 minutes or less, I'm starting up a new business, and I really would like your help. I'd like your feedback. And you go to them with sort of a description of what you're doing, what you do for your clients. Think of what we just did this morning about your 30-second commercial. It's about what I do for other businesses, not what I do, how I do it with the tools in my toolbox. It's how I make other people successful in their business by removing the frustration and the concern or the anxiety of running their IT. You might want to describe the attributes of businesses or the characteristics of the businesses or the industries they belong to. We usually talk to the top C-level in the companies we deal with. We're talking to a lot of people, especially in the highly technology-dependent industries like CPAs, lawyers, architects, engineers. These are typically the people that we would be most attractive to. We also work with people who are, work with us in similar industries, but we don't compete with each other, such as cable and wiring people or web designers or people of that nature. So anybody and everybody you know, I would love to get some idea, what you think we should do. Who do you know? Are there people I should be talking to about starting a business that you might be comfortable in introducing me to? Are there people that fit this description I just gave you that might be potential clients of mine, again, that you're not uncomfortable introducing me to? Let them know what's going on. If they give you an introduction, or if they give you a referral, or they say you need to talk to so-and-so about how they started a business like this, let them know what's going on. Regularly let them know that, hey, I talked to Bill. Great person. You got me some great ideas about how to get get oriented and get centered in some of my business objectives. Thank you very much. 6 months later, said, you got me to a person that really looks like he'll be one of the best clients I've ever had, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Thank you for getting me introduced to him. So those are the kinds of follow-up you want to make sure that you're letting them know about. Keep them posted as to how they're helping you and what you're doing in terms of your progress. So that's your inner circle, kind of your sphere of influence. Don't be shy about talking to them, being friends, especially that 15%. They're going to want to help you. You'd want to help your friends if they came to you with some advice, questions for advice and some help and introduction to people. So don't be uncomfortable in reaching out to them for this. They will help you a lot, I promise you. The people I coach the first year or two, virtually all of them get the majority of their business their first year come out of the people that they got introduced to through their sphere of influence. Any questions about SOI? All right, I'm going to introduce targeted prospecting, and then I'm going to take a break because I know that Ian's coming in here in a bit. We might pick up, I've asked Chris to see if it would be okay with you guys if I picked up after Ian's through with you for about a half an hour.
Okay, let me make sure we clarify. I apologize for the interjection. That is a conversation we're having with Ian for Thursday.
Okay, so for today.
We're done it right around now.
We're right around now. So I'm going to ask your permission to take a break here and then continue on for 30 or 45 minutes if that's okay with you. If you've got something else to do, then we'll figure out another time to do it. But I just want to ask your feedback here. I don't want to leave it short, but I do want to make sure we find time to finish this segment off. What does everybody feel about that?
So let me clarify that before we get an answer, and I'm sorry for abruptly interrupting again. So we would stop right now. I do have a couple of things for you. We would resume with what Jim's asking for at 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock. By no means is this mandatory, and I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. If we're okay with this, I'm all for it. If we have other things we got to get going, or you know what, my head is full of information, I'd like to stop receiving information today. That's feedback that we'd like to have from you. So you tell us.
I'm good with continuing.
Yeah, I'm good. You never asked us before, Chris. You always just told us to.
You just told us, right?
You just told us to be there. So.
Tan, how about you? You okay?
I'm good. Getting back at 3 Central.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Bill, how about you?
I guess, so Ian is coming in at some point?
No, that's tomorrow, Thursdays.
We have a conversation with him about what we're going to present to you on Thursday. We want to make sure we have alignment.
Oh,
on
okay.
that, so.
And you guys need an hour to do that? And so we need to come, and so take an hour break and then come back?
Normally we'd be ending for the day right here. I'm just asking if we take a break and then come back and finish up with another 45 minutes or so before the day's over.
So you're talking, taking